This is Let Us Interrupt You, episode 74, here on, it will be Tuesday, August 30th tomorrow, as I'm pre-recording this now for August 20th. Today's August 29th, technically, as I'm recording this right now, but tomorrow will be August 30th. There is no Mike tonight, and let there be light. Anyway, we live in a world right now where Jimmy G might be a backup for the 49ers. Tom Brady unhappy about playing football, possibly. And Bill Belichick trying to hypnotize people as he basically smiling at a press conference today, knowing the fact right now that the Patriots right now are not ready to play this NFL season. Carmelo Anthony wants to go back to the New York Knicks. And Danio Gallearnari basically tore his left meniscus because he's going to be out for 2 months. So a lot of misfortunes, a lot of positivity coming out of this whole thing. Jimmy G restructured his contract right now to get a 1-year, $17 million deal. He's supposedly now the highest paid backup quarterback right now in the NFL today, currently. It was Taysom at one point, getting a 4-year, $40 million deal, basically getting so much money just to sit there and do nothing. But now Jimmy G could probably do the exact same thing, except the difference now is that is Jimmy G really going to be a backup quarterback, which is what I'm going to start with today. Jimmy G getting the deal, getting a restructured deal, really to possibly be the backup quarterback. That was what was said today. In light of the news right now of what happened, and I just got this today as I'm on my way home from work, and I get this news, and it just amazes me really because I just never thought the restructured contract was going to come. I never thought this was going to happen. I didn't think Jimmy G was actually going to do it. It was a shocker. really did not see this coming. This came from Bleacher Report. This came from Adam Schefter of ESPN and also Ian Rappaport on his Twitter that broke out the news that he's agreed to a 1-year deal and $17 million with the 49ers. Here's my opinion. This is a guy who you got, by the way, to trade up to get. And really made your franchise quarterback, the face of your franchise. He almost won the Super Bowl for you guys. You almost made the playoffs back in 2017 with them anyway when you first had him. Then he tears his ACL. He comes back, takes you guys to the Super Bowl. You guys lose. Injured again. You miss the playoffs. And the next year he's back with your team. He basically takes you draft the first round pick quarterback in the third spot here. It takes you guys to the promised land, to the NFC title game. You come up short. You probably have won that game in the first place. And now he's agreed to be a backup quarterback right now at this point. I just think that's just unbelievable. It's absolutely insane. There are people out there right now who are shaking their heads at this. I'm shaking my head at this because honestly, I don't buy it. I don't buy Jimmy G's going to sit down for the rest of the season right now and be a backup quarterback and watch Trey Lance fail. And I don't think Trey Lance is going to fail on this team. Trey Lance will start for this team. That is well set and bound. You want to know why this is a restructured contract now? Because it's the only way out. It's the only way out for him to get traded, go somewhere else. And I got to be honest, I don't think Jimmy G really even wants to be in San Francisco. I got to be honest. A guy right now who doesn't feel wanted. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. In reality, I think it's surprising that, that this happened now. The fact that he even I didn't think he was going to restructure his contract at all. I thought he was going to get cut. And it's dead cap money that would have came into play in this whole thing, I believe. It would have hurt the 49ers badly just to not even trade this guy away and get rid of that dead contract. Because I think he would still had to freaking pay this guy dead money anyway. That money doesn't go away. You're owing that guy that money. You cut him out of his contract. I believe at this point he would fight for his money. You still have to be paid by the team. But in this case, he took a restructured contract. Now at this point, it's looking more like now at this point there's going to be a trade happening within the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a trade that happened either with the Seattle Seahawks and I'm just going to say this right now, possibly the New York Giants. I don't buy for 1 minute right now Daniel Jones is a starter. I don't know why Brian Dable would take the job. And at this point, you trade away Daniel Jones in this whole thing right now. I mean, you should. This guy's entering his fourth year now in the league, I believe, his third year in the league. If I'm not mistaken. Actually, this maybe is his fourth year in the league. So at this point right now, if I'm the Giants, I pull the trigger. You got more of a shot right now. I'm getting this guy right now with less to pay for, by the way. You get rid of dead money with Daniel Jones anyway. It's not that much you're getting rid of anyway. You trade to get a fourth-round draft pick out of it or a fifth-rounder, and there you go. You make the trade. The Giants are right now at this point at the realm right now that should be making this trade because what's holding this team back right now for a playoff run this year, possibly a Super Bowl contendership, is probably getting Jimmy G. If you don't get Jimmy G, you're going to miss the playoffs. You're probably going to end up firing Dayball, even though it's not going to be the guy's fault. And there's not much you could say and do here. Daniel Jones just sucks. And I think Joe Judge may have already broken somebody that was already broken because Daniel Jones was broken way before Joe Judge got his hands on him. That's the difference. Jimmy G was never broken. That's the difference here. Yeah, he had little kinks there, but he was glued back together with popsicle sticks and everything. So if you want my honest opinion about Jimmy G at this point and why I think why this might be good for the 49ers at this point, because you trade this guy quickly. You trade this guy as quickly as possible. There's no other way of looking at it. If you don't trade this guy, I don't know what you do. What do? You're going to keep this guy on the bench right now? You're facing the franchise. Here's my question out of curiosity at this point. Let's say Trey Lance right now takes over the realm here, and Jimmy G is still there. Is Trey Lance really ever going to become the face at this point? Because you got somebody at this point who's gunning for your job. You have more pressure at this point on this kid if you keep this guy around. And you remind everybody that, hey, I'm the highest paid backup quarterback of all time. You look how stupid you look. And you got Trey Lance, who you know is not ready to start in this league. But the only reason why they're jetpacking this guy as quickly as possible because they want to prove that he's better than freaking Jimmy G. In reality, Kyle Shanahan is the reason why they lost the Super Bowl once again. Now, let's put that in perspective for a second. When you're up by 3 points and you're trying to get rid of the guy who was horrible at time management, may as well have told you, we're not going to take any timeouts. Go right ahead. Run the clock down. I'm going to try to make a spectacular Hail Mary, because let's put this in perspective right now. Let's just say they kept passing the ball, running the ball, and Kansas City didn't take a timeout because we know Andy Reid is stupid when it comes to time management at this point. And let's just say they kept running the ball. I guarantee right now Andy Reid would have never learned from this whole thing and screwed up the whole time management. He would have screwed it up somehow. We all know, and Andy Reid has never been good at time management. Never has been good with it. And I just think to myself, there's been a few years where he's gotten a little better with it, but he's never really truly owned the skill of handling time management and drives in a football game. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. And I look at this and I think to myself, this is a really weird, 49er team this season right now, having Jimmy G stick around. And I just don't think he will be. This guy restructured his contract for one reason, because he wants out. He's almost out of the bay. And right now, you guys have the opportunity right now to break some news right now saying, we're going to trade away our quarterback to so-and-so for so-and-so. Clock is ticking. You can still pull it up right now. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon where you guys are at. So what are you waiting for? Pull the trigger. That's all I got to say. Pull the damn trigger. Tom Brady, was in a press conference today, claimed that he never was going to play for anyone but the Buccaneers, was according to Pro Football Talk right now. This is according to Mike Florio. Tom Brady unexpectedly opted to meet with reporters after his one-drive preseason cameo in Saturday night's game against the Colts. During his brief remarks, he addressed one of the various elephants heading in the room. He says, I read all these different stories about these different places I was supposed to go or could have gone. Brady said via JoeBucksFan.com. I was only going to go to one place, which was here. I think this whole organization knows that. That contention flies in the face of the fact that the NFL found them to be. This is what written by Mike Florio. Look, I got to be honest. If it was right there for the taking, it was right there for the taking. I mean, Brady was looking at houses in Las Vegas, to be fair. But was he really wanted to play for the Las Vegas Raiders? I don't know. And here's my question. Would he want to play with John Gruden, a guy who's such a hothead and thinks he's always right and is never wrong, and he thinks he's this genius that did it all? Here's the thing. Did John Gruden back in 1995 draft any of those Tampa Bay Buccaneer players? No, that was Tony Dungy. That was that Glazier family. Mm-hmm. Now, he goes to he gets himself, like released from his contract with the Raiders in his first stint with the Raiders. By the way, they never won a championship, by the way, with him around. You had 2 shots at this, really. You blew the first one at home against the Ravens, which ultimately, by the way, was the most embarrassing AFC title game of all time, in my opinion. You're at home, clinching it all. You have Jerry Rice, Rich Gannon, Charlie Gardner, and you guys don't win, and you only held the 3 points. That's embarrassing. Granted, the Ravens are one of the best all-time great defenses in the early 2000s. Great team, great coaching, but there was no effort. There was no effort by Gannon. There was no effort by Callahan to adjust or Gruden to adjust. It just was just a never-ending nightmare. And then you got the Tuck rule made. So now you got Gruden back in his second stint now, blows the whole thing up. And I think, and look, I mean, I think if Brady's going to deny I think he wanted to go to Tampa Bay at first, but at the same time, I think he wanted to tease it. I think he wanted to mess with the NFL. Teams right now wish they could have him kind of ordeal. I think Brady was teasing the idea of going to Las Vegas. I think he wanted to, because I don't think he was really fully committed on being told what to do by John Gruden. I'm just being honest, because that relationship would have never worked out. And I think Gruden blew the whole thing up because he knew he was going to not be able to tell Brady what to do. And I think truly that's the reason why that Brady went on the thing saying, and I think that this was towards Derek Carr. And maybe I'm just being realistic here. Maybe he was trying to call Josh McDaniels and try to get Gruden and try to release dirt on Gruden, so McDaniels could really take the play calling job over Gruden. Because I got to be honest, when I look back on the Raiders, Rich Bisella, which a lot of people were saying was doing most of the play calling for the Raiders, that was probably after John Gruden was let go. But John Gruden overruled Rich Bisella, ran the team himself, and that's what happened here. See, Bill Callahan never really listened to Gruden as much because he thought like Gruden. So there was really nothing to argue about, really. I mean, hardly make any adjustments and see what happens. That's Bill Callahan's approach. He never really ever adjusts in a game, if you notice. Neither does John Gruden. So this was pretty easy for them. And I just got to say that this is probably by far the obvious thing here. Everyone wants to say, that this is towards Derek Carr, and maybe he called out Derek Carr. Maybe he called up Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe he did want to go to the Miami Dolphins. Maybe the realistic story here was that, for Brady was that he was probably offered, and I'll tell you what Brady was probably offered. He was probably offered the executive job to play him instead of playing for the Miami Dolphins, because realistically they wanted to draft Tua. That's why they tanked to get him. It wouldn't make any sense to take Tom Brady. And the biggest insult would be to a quarterback that right now we don't even know can even reach that full potential as a quarterback. And Tua, it'd be the ultimate insult. This is a guy that won 6 Super Bowl championships, and really, in reality, you're going to go to a team who's going to draft the draft in the 5th position of quarterback here. Why would Tom Brady want to go play for a team that realistically you basically get embarrassed by almost every freaking time you play them? Number one, that would make you look good as a player. And number two, you are going to go to a team then who's going to make you teach Tua, or actually, no, I'm sorry, play for somebody and be behind Tua. I'm sorry, what? Brady would never go for that. And the whole idea of starting Ryan Fitzpatrick for 6 games, all just to put in Tua. I think, and I think in true honesty here, I think he was really doing this. He dissed Ryan Fitzpatrick and he dissed Tua. I'm just being honest. They have yet to play each other because Jacoby Brissett played, if you're not mistaken right now, and Tua, who obviously didn't play in that game. If you go back and watch that Dolphins-Bucs game from last season, there was no Tua in that game. So right now, he could have dissed both Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua. We're never going to really know what really happened here. But the real thing is, he didn't really diss Derek Carr. He dissed John Gruden. And you want to know why he dissed John Gruden? Because he knew that Brady was going to get him replaced. Because look, he got Bruce Arians replaced by Todd Bowles. He could have actually easily could have gotten Brian Leftwich to do with the job, or could have gotten Josh McDaniels to do the job. Because McDaniels was basically out of a job. He left really the Patriots high and dry before Bill really gave him the boot. Everyone wants to say that Bill Belichick gave him the boot. I hate to clue you. That was not what happened. I'm just being honest. And I think the idea that, that Brady really dissed Derek Carr, I don't buy it. I think he may have dissed. I think you want to know, and I got to be honest with you right now, why he only said he dissed the one person. Because think about it. There are multiple teams that wanted Tom Brady to come there in the first place. It wasn't just the Dolphins and the Raiders and the 49ers. You want to know what they really said at the end of the day, what they really came down to at the end of all this? He really wanted to go to San Francisco at first because his family was there. I think that was his first choice. I don't think Tampa Bay was his first choice. I really don't think it was. I think they said, no, we're going to stick with Jimmy and we'll see what happens. I think he called the owner himself and he said, all right, I understand. Jimmy G is a really good quarterback. I can respect your decision. I don't think that Brady's first choice was Tampa Bay. I just don't think it was. The LA Chargers, he said Justin Herbert. He probably, he was probably like, who's Justin Herbert? Probably watched the footage and be like, oh, wow, this kid's dangerous. Okay, I can see why. I think they faced the Chargers that year, and I'm pretty sure the Chargers almost beat them that year in 2020. So, I mean, that was a tough team to face at that time. And granted, that team, I don't think made the playoffs that year. I think that year they went 8-8. But, I mean, that was a pretty tough team to face. And then you have the Raiders. I think in this case, actually, no. In this case, it would have been it was the Dolphins. But I think the whole Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick play. I think looking at that and going, this guy's not really ready, and he just had hip surgery. And Brian Flores is probably telling Tom, let the world know that I got forced into the tanking these games. I was paid $100,000 I was offered $100,000. I was offered $100,000 just to get you. Just to get you. I think Brian Flores deep down knew he was going to be out the door, no matter how good he was going to be in that point for Miami. I think they called up Ross. I think they called up I think it was obviously the GM who did it. I don't think Ross was ever going to get on the phone and actually ever talk to Tom Brady ever. But in realistic terms, this was what the plan was for Miami. Go over Fitzpatrick for half the season and bring in Tua. Now, you could argue right now that I think Brady really dissed Tua in this whole thing. Now, the more I've been thinking about it right now, he really dissed Fitzpatrick, Tua Tagovailoa, and John Gruden and Bill Callahan. Because I think Bill Callahan was still part of that consultant team at the time. I don't think he ever left. I think he was with Dallas, but I think he went back. I don't think he ever really was with the Dallas Cowboys in 2020. Unless I'm mistaken. I don't really remember. But you get my point. And I think Tom Brady, Tampa Bay really wanted Tom Brady because they had no quarterback. Who do they really have a quarterback? They already got rid of Winston at that point. Winston was never going to go back to Tampa Bay. It was obvious. They were at a hole at quarterback. So I think realistically, Brady, maybe Tampa Bay was his last choice, maybe his last destination, but they probably offered him more money. And I got to tell you right now, I think Brady was insulted by the money they were going to give. I don't think Brady was ever going to sign really a $26 million. I heard a bunch of offers, random offers at some point. I think it was one. I think there was no offer from San Fran. No offer from the Chargers. Probably an offer from the Raiders that was insulting, really. And then you got the Dolphins one that was probably cheap enough because the Dolphins want to be cheap anyway. And the Bucs were willing to give him everything because they had no quarterback and they were willing and they had the money. They had the money for Brady ready to go. First class flight right to Tampa Bay, Florida. Great for Giselle and the kids to go move them out in Florida, out in down south in the warm weather. You can go take a right to fly down to Florida. Go on a Disney cruise, go to the cruise in the Bahamas. I mean, they could have done a lot of things, really. Go to Costa Rica from there would be a lot easier than traveling from New England. It's a simple thing. It really is a simple thing. And the more I think, and I just thought about this just now on the fly. And I thought about it because it kind of makes sense because think about this really. The diss really wasn't to Derek Carr. The diss was really to John Gruden because Tom Brady has made John Gruden look like a fool for years. Think about it. The tuck rule game, that one regular season game back in 2005 where they killed him it was 28-0, I think it was, 35-0, I think it was. There was another time too. I think they might have taken a trip down to Tampa Bay one season. I don't know. I don't know if it was during the undefeated year. I don't know. And then you got John Gruden deep down who resents Tom Brady because in reality, he got more successful than John Gruden ever did, whether he was a player or a coach. And at the end of the day, you figure, well, and I think, and I wouldn't even understand why John Gruden wouldn't even want this. And think about this for a minute. Maybe it was a whole tampering deal. Maybe, I'm just trying to figure this out right now because there'd be no tampering for the guy. It's not like that. It's not like Mark Davis was all in on Derek Carr to begin with, and he never really was. Al Davis was the only one that was really into Derek Carr, and so was John Madden. I mean, I've heard stories about John Madden having a little intrigue with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, and a lot of people were having a lot of intrigue about Derek Carr. A lot of people did. A lot of people were convinced that the Raiders in that Patriot game that won 2014 season would have beaten the Patriots that year with Derek Carr. It almost happened. Because I'm pretty sure in that game the Patriots didn't do that great in that game either. But there's a variety of ways of looking at this, really. Everyone wants to say that this is really towards Derek Carr, that this is really to John Gruden. Because he really wanted him to say no, because he really wanted to, put his money where his mouth is, because he knew that Derek Carr was on a short leash with John Gruden. He really was. They're always at each other. I mean, they were at each other throughout the preseason. They were at each other throughout the regular season. I mean, they almost had conflict almost every time. I mean, if you don't believe me, you can ask some of the players. The players will say, yeah, we backed Derek Carr more, we backed John Gruden. They're willing to come out and say it. And John Gruden, who was already on a short leash with the NFLPA and with the NFL itself, because they had something against Roger Goodell. And they're all trying to be peacemaker because they really hate Roger Goodell deep down, but they don't really want to admit it. So, but you got John Gruden who's sending threatening emails or screwed up emails about NFL female officials and all that, and the NFLPA's president, Damari Smith, or vice president, or whatever he is, talent relations guy, I think. And then basically had one thing to say about Roger Goodell. Oh, he went too far. When really 31 owners make fun of Roger Goodell in the first place. And Tom Brady's made him look like a fool for years. Every single time. In fact, I'm pretty sure every NFL quarterback who had a distaste for Roger Goodell has had it out for him. So this is not news. And I think this is really to John Gruden. I think it is. I think the fact that Tom Brady, people want to say that's Brady's fourth choice. I'd say maybe it was his second, because I think he really wanted to go to Los Angeles, really. I think Giselle wanted to go to Los Angeles more than she wanted to go to Las Vegas. Because really the Vegas, you look at the people who go gamble out there, the homelessness out there, just what happens. The environment there is it's not really kid friendly. At least with Los Angeles, you got nice beaches out there, and and really there's more runways for Giselle to go model at. I think the real first choice for Brady, if we're going to really be honest with ourselves here, and I really wanted Brady to go here, I will admit this. I think he should have gone to the Los Angeles Chargers. Think about it that way. The Chargers would have been a more successful team that year. They probably would have won the Super Bowl that year. And 2 years down the road, he would have restructured his contract to make the Chargers defense better. Of course he would have. To bring in more talent. It makes sense. And I don't know, maybe Justin Herbert would have gone to Tampa Bay that year. A lot of people were saying Justin Herbert in his first year with Bruce Arians would have gotten Bruce Arians fired. Is what I thought when I thought Herbert was going to get drafted by the Bucs, because I had it in the bag. I had the idea of Herbert in the first year 8-8, not good enough for Arians to stick around. He gets fired, and then somebody else comes along, coaches. Someone like a Kevin O'Connor, maybe a Norv Turner, maybe a Eric Bieniemy. That would have been a good head coach right now down there in Tampa Bay that year would have coached up Herbert. That would have been a fantastic duo. And you add in the Bucs defense and you add in the Chargers defense, you could have gotten a Chargers Bucs Super Bowl that year and would have been in SoFi Stadium. That would have been a hell of a story. A real packed Super Bowl in SoFi Stadium, and Tom Brady's the quarterback for Los Angeles Chargers, still in the AFC. And you could have had Tom Brady, and you could have had Brady that year going against his former team in his new home. That would have been something interesting. But, he chose Tampa Bay in the end. Tampa Bay really wanted him more. They were really not in a position to get Herbert anyway in the draft. So, there you go. I rest my case. And everyone wants to say he's dissing Derek Carr. Look, I'll tell you who the disses really go to. Tua, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Derek Carr. That's it. I'm sorry, not Derek Carr. I'm sorry, John Gruden. Sorry. Let me try it again. Tua, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and John Gruden. I don't know. Maybe it was maybe a little heat to Derek Carr. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a little tease to Derek Carr. But I don't think he was really going after Derek Carr that much. I just don't believe it. Well, Bill Belichick was in the news. It was according to Sportsnet Central on Comcast. Bill Belichick had his press conference today. Was all excited about seeing Chris Berman. The main news here is that the Patriots look terrible in these preseason games. I got to be honest. They lost 23-6. I know I already went over the score about that game. But 7 drives, an interception, and 4 3-and-outs. It doesn't do the Patriots justice. They're not ready for the regular season. I had my hopes up thinking like, oh, well, maybe, there's a change maybe. It was my overreaction with Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia will be successful someday with the Seahawks. And the only reason why is because Pete Carroll built up the foundation up for him. Bailey Zappe will go there, find success there. Maybe as a backup role, maybe as a starter. Maybe they'll try to go with Bryce Young out of Alabama. I don't know. Maybe that's a plan. Maybe Carroll should stick around first before they get the reins up to Matt Patricia, before he poisons some other quarterback. Because I got to be honest, Zappe so far overcame Matt Patricia. You know who hasn't? Mac Jones. Mac Jones is frustrated. You can tell by his reactions in the football game and everything else like that. I mean, the struggle against those backups, and I just found they were Raider backups. That's pathetic. That is absolutely 100% pathetic. And I give all three thumbs down to the following: Matt Patricia, Mac Jones, Devontae Parker. They all deserve a thumbs down, in my opinion. Devontae Parker especially. He has struggled a lot this preseason. And Kendrick Bourne, not being seen in that football field is really concerning. Because if the Patriots trade Kendrick Bourne away, you might as well throw away the whole playoff chance season. If they're going to rely on Devontae Parker, because really that's what's really going on here, is that there's a lot of grumblings on that depth chart right now of who's the number one guy. Kendrick Bourne should be the number one guy right now, hands down. He's been the best wide receiver on that team. Jacoby Myers has been meh. No one's even heard a peep from him. And Devontae Parker has made more news because he drops so many freaking balls and misses so many routes and misses so many plays. This is what he was known for in Miami. That's why he was never highly regarded in Miami. That's why Miami was glad to get rid of him. That's why Miami was able to lend him to New England and make it New England's problem, because it's a little cat and mouse game. Where, in this case, Miami has become the mouse. You've become the cat. While it was the other way around, the Dolphins were the cat and you were the mouse, winning the division almost every single freaking year. And this past year, you barely made the playoffs. You lost to the freaking Bills by 30 points. And so far, the Dolphins, this is what you show for it. You trade up, get Devontae Parker, and really, what do you give up? A meaningless 7th-round pick that's never going to matter to amount to anything anyway? I mean, if I were them, I would try to get DK Metcalf. I don't know. I would try to get Deebo Samuel to come here. I don't know. You put out the books last year. You have most of the money still this year. Mac Jones' contract right now is not looking like $1 million contract. It's a rookie deal. He's not going to ask for an extension for a while. But I wouldn't even ask for an extension at this point, because he might be on the chopping block if he does. Keep your mouth shut, kid. Just wait a little bit. But the whole thing of it is that right now at this point, I think he's playing worse in his second year than Brady did in his second year. That is my honest opinion right now. And that's from watching all these preseason games at this point. Yeah, there's short glimpses of it. But I went to training camp, and it's like, it looked promising at first, and then it looked like a little dicey. But I look at it, and I'm just waving my head. I'm going, oh, my God. And then you have Bill Belichick today, who applauds Chris Berman. Don't get me wrong. I love Chris Berman. I do. But, man, to hide, because see, the thing of it is that I don't think Belichick really has the motivation of caring. He knows at this point that he is safe. He knows at this point he's the smartest coach in the room. He still thinks that. I think he is. When it comes to the salary cap and all that, he is, because it benefits Bill. Anything that involves money is revolved around Bill. The Browns have said it. Mike Lombardi has said it. Tom Brady might as well have said it in his Tom versus Time thing on Facebook. I mean, this is a The writing on the wall, for Christ's sakes. Think about it. I mean, he almost traded Rob Gronkowski to the Detroit Lions. Think about that for a minute. You know how dumb that would have been? You would have never had a sixth Super Bowl ring if that would have happened. I just feel like now at this point that this is a pathetic attempt, a waste of a time excuse for Belichick to be, giggly and happy now, smiling and stuff like that. When have you ever seen Bill Belichick in the 25-year history freaking smile at something like this that's happening right in front of him? His whole empire is falling apart in shambles. Matt Patricia right now, as an offensive guru to me, is scary. Joe Judge, as the quarterback whisperer. I call quarterback coaches a quarterback whisperer because that's what they basically are. They're like the horse whisperers of the NFL. They basically are. This is what you come up against? And the defense that really has got so many question marks. I mean, you're struggling against backups in a preseason game? Really? That is terrifying. That is really terrible, especially for your final preseason game. Not a good showing. Not a good showing. Mac expressed his frustrations, and you got to tell that whole thing with, Matt Patricia is such an inspiration. He's like, I highly respect Matt, but it was all spoon-fed from Bill. Robert Kraft's probably watching that press coverage back going, why the hell did he say that? Why the hell did he make this star quarterback look like an idiot on worldwide television? What? I mean, seriously. It was all spoon-fed. I don't think Kraft wanted Patricia back here. I just don't think he did. I just think it just sounds stupid at this point. And Joe Judge, who I think Kraft knew this was coming, but he just figured, maybe Bill will figure it out. Bill's got a plan. The Bill has a plan that wraps around everything outside the Patriots. Sir, some of it's inside the Patriots. But let's think about this for a minute. Tom Brady, who you could have signed to a $50 million deal, or even offer him $45. That year where he had a torn ACL, a sprained MC, I think it was a torn ACL, MCL that year that he played right through all of 2019 and all through 2020. By the way, hiding an injury like that for 2 years. This is why he made number one in the top 100, by the way. Just FYI. Because not only did he overcame that for the last 2 years, but that year right after that, the year after they won the Super Bowl, they came up short in the division round game at home, but he had a much better year than that year before that. And no one could believe it. Everyone was convinced they were going to be the number one seed, being undefeated that year, and going right back to the Super Bowl. I was convinced of that. A lot of people were convinced of that. So it's shocking to actually for all this to play out right now. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. That's just the way it is at this point. It's just bizarre. I mean, I don't know what else to say here other than that. I really don't. But I just think to myself right now, holy crap, Bill. Wake up. Your team is not ready for the NFL this season. They're not. They're going to be an 8-9, 7-10 team win season. That's all they're going to be at this point. I know it's happened overreaction at this point. We haven't gone through week one yet, but the way it's shaping up right now, I mean, if you're struggling against the Las Vegas Raiders rejects, who might as well, nobody's going to even know their name after week one. Like, it's just sad. It's just sad. And Josh McDaniels outsmarting Bill in a preseason game. When the hell has that ever happened? That really ever happens. Ever. That just surprises me, that's all. That's all it does. We have some more NFL news other than what I just reported just now. Tom Brady, by the way, finishing number one in the top 100. I think I do have the list in front of me, I believe. I'm not mistaken. I may have the list in front of me here. Well, here's what a Bleacher Report had looked at this point. This is from the NFL Network here at this point. I'll give you the top 10. I may as well start off with that. I don't know if I can find a top 10 on here. think, do I have the top 10 in front of me? So here's the top 10. This is what it looks like right now. This is from the NFL.com Twitter page. But here is your top 10 right now from this point. Because I would go to the NFL top 100 with all you guys, but we're not going to have enough time for that tonight. Travis Kelce made number 10. Tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Really great productive year for him. Really the only guy that's left for this Chiefs team at this point that might be in a chopping block with Mahomes is really boneheaded contract that the Chiefs were willing to sign and give to him and bow down to him. Number 9 goes to the defensive back, Jalen Ramsey for the Los Angeles Rams, who just recently won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Well-deserved spot. I mean, I think he could have gone a little bit higher, but I think well-deserved spot. Patrick Mahomes at number 8. A lot of people were stunned by this listing here. Let me put this in perspective for you. This is probably a lot of people out there that's looking back on this now and thinking, well, Mahomes did throw 2 interceptions in the AFC title game and did have another choke job at home in the AFC title game. Basically throwing Tyreek Hill under the bus, blaming him for that loss against the Bengals in the AFC title game. I mean, in actuality, I don't really blame Tyreek Hill for this one. I blame the play calling on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I really do. It was boneheaded decision-making once again, which is what I said before about Andy Reid not being good at time management. But I think with the lack of effort, the lack of being fully engaged, and then coming out of nowhere throwing 40 touchdowns. I mean, it's just trying to make up for lost time. Basically, what happened last season there, and watching Mahomes play throughout that year last year. That's all it was. And I think in reality, he just makes too many mistakes, and he thinks he can overcome it. He thinks he's Tom Brady right now, where I can tell you right now, Brady has never lost back-to-back AFC title games at home. I'm just being honest. I can't recall ever seeing Tom Brady ever do that. In a high-pressure AFC championship game, have I ever seen Tom Brady throw 2 interceptions in back-to-back years at home? No, never happened. That's insane for that to happen at this point. Insanity. Wide receiver Devontae Adams, now who was originally with the Packers, now with the Raiders, coming out at number 7. T.J. Watt, linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming in at number 6. Jonathan Taylor coming in at number 5, running back for the Colts. Elliott Rand, wide receiver. Cooper Kupp coming in at number 4, Super Bowl MVP. Aaron Rodgers coming in at number 3, who was the NFL MVP. Came in with 40. I think he had 48 touchdowns in the past season. And you could have argued right now he could have gotten number 2 and number 1. He would have flip-flopped it, really. Aaron Donald coming in at number 2, and Tom Brady coming in at number 1 for the top 100. And for a guy who's disgruntled and a guy who was, all bent out of shape, he was bent out of shape by the stupid media. That's what it was. He's 45 years old. He wants us to play football. He's gotten all bent out of shape by the media. And I was surprised that Brady came in at number 1. I was convinced that Aaron Donald was going to be number 1 once again. I was convinced. But the fact that this came in really did surprise me. So I was just very surprised by how that whole thing played out. I really was. Deebo Samuel, this is also calling a Bleacher Report right now, won't miss time after missing 49 days practice with a knee injury. So he seems to be okay. Dolphins were able to sign Trey Flowers. This is also according to Adam Schefter on his Twitter. That was as of yesterday. Let's see. Astros, Justin Verlander exited the Orioles game last night with a calf injury with calf tightness, so he should be fine. We might as well get into this one right now. Washington Commander running back Brian Robinson was shot in a car robbery that was back in Washington, D.C. He went through scored at ESPN. Ron Rivera saying he's in good spirits. He seems to be all right, and he'll take due time will heal. That was what Brian Robinson said. He was thankful and for all the support and all the gestures that the fan base and the Commanders had done for him in this very serious manner here. So Brian Robinson, get well soon, man. Hope to see you back in that football field, my man. Patriots' Ty Montgomery suffered an ankle injury Friday night against the Raiders. Bill Belichick gave an encouraging. This is why he was doing the press conference today, but he was giving an update on Ty Montgomery. He says he'll be fine. Nothing to worry about there. Sad news today. Ex-NFL offensive coordinator Ernie Zampese passing away at the age of 86. This was breaking out today on ESPN.com. This is from the ESPN news service. Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, a.k.a. Eric Coryell, attacked in San Diego and for the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl 30 team, had died at the age of 86. Zampese also worked for the offensive coordinators for the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots during his 24 year in the NFL. His son, Ken Zampese, is the quarterback coach right now for the Washington Commanders. Right now, the quote, this is what it was said here. We mourn the loss of Ernie Zampese, the father of quarterback head coach Ken Zampese, and one of the most innovative offensive minds throughout his long NFL coaching career. Our hearts are with Ken and the entire Zampese family, the Commanders tweeted on Monday. And my heart goes out to that family as well. You know, it's not easy losing a loved one. It really isn't. It actually hurts a lot. It makes my heart ache hearing more news about that now more than ever. It really is just sad to hear that he had passed away. We also got some more sad news, actually. Unfortunately, Bob Luporn, who was a Sopranos actor, that was a guy, by the way, who played. I want to say he was the mayor, I believe, of New Jersey. I think, or I think he was some kind of Secretary of State guy, I believe, who played that. I'm not sure what his title was in the show, but he was part of the Sopranos cast, and he had passed away a few days ago, actually, following his 3-year battle with pancreatic cancer. This is according to the Today on NBC Today website. I don't know who wrote the article. Actually, it says it does it say? Oh, it's right by the Associated Press as well. So the AP Press got their hands on this news. So he was in Broadway theater for about 40 years before making it really his. It was a brother of Broadway icon Patti LuPone. So very sad news to hear right now. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family for LuPone. Lamar Jackson, getting back to the NFL right now. Laviska Shenault Jr., who was getting traded to the Panthers. The return is unknown at this point of what the return had to be nothing. It was probably cash. Laviska Shenault Jr. to me he was a good wide receiver. I mean, for Jacksonville, I just find it surprising. I mean, very surprising. He was actually pretty decently good. I'm surprised he was not cut from the team and signed by the Ravens because you could have used another wide receiver at this point if you're Baltimore. Speaking of the Ravens, that was also on Bleacher Report today that Lamar Jackson denied that the Ravens offered him a $250 million guaranteed deal and guaranteed in contract talks. Lamar Jackson's going to be a free agent. I'm sorry. This guy's going to play like an MVP. He's going to go out there, play tell the whole world how he feels. The only problem is the team's going to stink because they're going to be 8-9. And because really he's going to do it all by himself with running the ball. He's going to run the ball more than the pass, and I hate to clue you. And he should. Who does he really have to throw to on this team? He has nobody on this team. Nobody good. It's kind of sad, actually. Let's see what else we got to talk about here. We might as well talk about the Red Sox right now. This is according to I think this is according to Bleacher Report as well. This was also according to it was according to Joseph Sucker on Twitter as well. It was also going to the Athletic Kenneth Rosenthal, who broke the story. The Boston Red Sox intend to retain manager Alex Cora and chief baseball officer Chaim Bloom for the 2023 Major League Baseball season. I'm not even going to read the quote on Chaim Bloom here because this is what I got to say about the whole thing. I think it's an absolute mistake. I think it's an absolute mistake that they're keeping Chaim Bloom and Alex Cora together. I think Alex Cora should have been fired the night after the second half of the year, the start of the year, when they lost 28-5, and now they're coming on record saying right now that they intend on keeping both. Neither one deserve a freaking job. Neither one of them deserve a freaking job. And I think the idea that you are keeping this dysfunctional group around one another tells a story here. Ken Rosenthal probably was trying to talk to John Henry about the possibility of keeping these guys. He probably doesn't even know what the hell is going on. He ignores like half the freaking things that happens, and half the time doesn't even show up. And when he does show up, because his buddy Ken Rosenthal is there, John Henry goes, "Yeah, I'm going to keep both of them. Wait a minute. Let me. Can I give you some tea and crumpets? Can I give you some Pinot Grigio? Can I ask you something right now, Ken? Should I Should I have gotten rid of Theo Epstein a long time ago and Terry Francona? Should I have really thought about getting Alex Cora, the guy who likes hiding little sensors in trash cans? How about Chaim Bloom? Why does Chaim Bloom stink in Tampa Bay and we have him good in Boston? Is he making my team good? Is he making me lots of money? That's all. That's what I think of now, and I think and I know that's probably a horrible John Henry. It probably was, but this is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Do you like my nice Newport mansion? Guess how much it cost me? It cost me $12 billion. I have another one out in the Bermuda Triangle that I might go someday. He should go there someday. Take yourself and your wife with you, and your billions and billions of dollars, and go screw, because you have now stopped caring about this Red Sox organization. Alex Cora, who I don't even think wants to be in Boston, he's lost the fan base. He's lost the players. The players are basically fighting for nothing at this point, besides contract guaranteed money at this point that they're deserving to get. And probably they fight to get the Chaim Bloom to say, hey, pay us. That's what your job is. Your job is to pay us. We do exactly what you want us to do, and you're gonna kick it to the curb. Why? To save a quick buck? And really, and for what? To just pull a John Henry 2.0 10 years down the road when you're unenthusiastic, I can't even say the word. When you're not motivated anymore to run the Red Sox. Because that's what John Henry is. He's unmotivated. He's an unmotivated owner. And you got an unmotivated chief baseball officer. You got an unmotivated COO of the entire franchise. And you got an owner out there, and you got Sam Kennedy. Sam Kennedy, who might as well be John Henry's puppet at this point, clapping with his with the little strings right now, clapping along, saying, "Let's go Red Sox! Let's go Red Sox!" Nothing to see here, guys. Don't worry, we win another one. We're City of Boston. We're winners. Yay! We are absolute winners. You want to know what the sad thing is, too, if you're a Boston Red Sox fan, if you think about it right now? This team's going to be worse next year. Oh, they're going to be worse next year. They need a whole cleanup section right now. JD Martinez don't want to be there. He'll be gone. Xander Bogaerts don't want to be there. He'll be gone. Rafael Devers wants to be there at this point, but they don't want him. He'll be gone. Chris Sale at this point wants to stick around at this point, although he's kind of used up, like a used up toothpaste bottle. He'll be gone. There's no reason to keep these guys around. No reason at all whatsoever. And I'm sorry if my computer's keep bouncing up and down like this, but this is how I am when I have to get into a freaking rant. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that I keep these guys around. It is. I don't think Alex Cora even wants to come back. I think he's lost. I think this season has sucked the life out of him so freaking badly because he knows how stupid this sounds. They're going to make the playoffs with a losing record in 5th place. That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. That division is way too tough. I mean, you looked at it this year. They took 2 out of 3 against the Rays. I applaud them for that. I was actually surprised they even pulled that crap off. Rich Hill, by the way, who went 7 2/3, had 11 strikeouts. The oldest pitcher to do that back, and that hasn't happened since 1900. That's 122 years old, that record is. That may have been broken by Rich Hill, who, by the way, has been the best pitcher really right now besides Michael Walker on the entire team all year long. That's kind of hard to believe. Nick Pivetta, below average, sucks. Brian Bello, might as well be terrible. He's on right now playing against the Minnesota Twins right now. I might as well just check that out to see if the Red Sox are winning or not. Are the Red Sox winning? Oh, they're in Minnesota tonight, so they're not even in Fenway. That's the worst part. They're not even in Fenway tonight, so they can't even defend themselves here in Boston. They got to go hide in Minnesota for a week. Well, it's only the first inning. I think this game is pretty much the start at this point. But you get my point. It's kind of pathetic at this point. I might as well give you the scores right now. There's only 2 games. There's only really 3 games on right now. The other games don't come on until later on. Marlins and Dodgers are tied at 2-2. That's turned out to be a 4-game series, I guess. Cubs and Blue Jays are on right now. The Cubs are winning right now 1-0. The Blue Jays might choke it up this year. They got swept this weekend against the Los Angeles Angels of all teams. At home. Ugh. Cardinals, Reds are in a rain delay. Red Sox and Twins are scoreless. Pirates and Brewers are playing later tonight in Milwaukee. Yankees, Angels are taking on each other tonight in Anaheim. Phillies and Diamondbacks are playing each other in Arizona. You got Padres and Giants on at 9:45. And that's really the slate of games. The games that are on tomorrow: Orioles, Guardians, Rays, Marlins, Cardinals, Reds, A's, Nationals, Cubs, Blue Jays, Mariners, Tigers are on tomorrow. Dodgers, Mets, Rockies, Braves. Game 2, the Red Sox, Twins on at 7:40. Astros, Rangers, Royals, White Sox, Pirates, Brewers. Game 2 of that series, along with Game 2 of the Yankees, Angels, Phillies, Diamondbacks, and Padres and the Giants on at 9:45. So that is your rundown for that games that are on tomorrow. I will probably have a sports flash or probably have the scoreboard right now posted right now for every, which I might start doing it now going forward, just for newsfeed purposes for Facebook or whatever else like that. I may put that in my story too on Instagram. I don't know. If people are intrigued, great. If you like it, it's great. If you don't, oh well. But yeah, I will put those box scores up there on my timeline as soon as possible right now. And look, this is Tuesday's episode is going to be released out right now. It might get released earlier than that. It is Monday. But by the time this will probably be fully uploaded for the entire world to see, possibly, it'll be a Tuesday. So that's that. That's the Red Sox rant at this point. I had enough of this Red Sox team. In fact, right now, if they actually bring back Alex Cora in 2023 with Chaim Bloom, I will promise you right now, I will talk about baseball. I will not talk about the Red Sox. I'll give you the score of the game, and that's it. I will not talk about the Red Sox at all. You will not hear me go on with a rant about this unless you people like it. I've been told lately I've been good at really ranting. I've been told I'm an angry guy sometimes. I'm always negative. I mean, that may be true. But in reality, it's like, can you blame me? Can you actually blame me about the Red Sox? Can you actually blame me? I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really is. It's absolutely unbelievable. Got some more football news before I get into the basketball news. Jets releasing Chris Streffler today. The New York Jets informed a third-year quarterback they will cut him after an unbeaten preseason. That was according to Adam Schefter. The Cardinals are releasing Devin Kennard. This is according to Ian Rappaport. They waived the veteran after drafting 2 linebackers. And that's the end of that. That's the end of that news. That's the end of that news of what I want to talk about with that one. But here's something that I think a lot of people should be intrigued in, which is Carmelo Anthony, who reportedly wants to go back and play for the New York Knicks. Wants to join the New York Knicks after, go back to his own home. This is according to Newsbreak and also according to the USA Today sports media. Last summer, Carmelo Anthony got to fulfill long-time dream by playing on the same NBA team with LeBron James when the Los Angeles Lakers signed him as a free agent. Anthony played well at times, especially at home, giving LA a major offensive lift. However, overall, he was inconsistent offensively, and his defense in passing was very subpar. I'll leave it at that with this, and I'll say this right now. Carmelo Anthony, your time is up. Retire. Retire the jersey. Retire it. But here's what I would do if I'm Carmelo Anthony. Don't retire as a Laker. Don't retire as a New York Knick. Retire as a Denver Nugget. As a matter of fact, why don't you have your jersey retired in Syracuse? That makes sense even more. Because you were more beloved in towns of Syracuse and Denver. In fact, the more I think about it, really, I can't even remember the time that Carmelo Anthony was even booed. Except for LeBron, the only time I would say there was real hatred in the NBA, like real legit, oh, I can't stand this guy anymore now kind of hatred, it's when the Cleveland Cavalier fans turned on LeBron James. I actually didn't even get a chance to talk about this because this happened like a week ago, but apparently LeBron James' wife took to Twitter and actually tweeting about that happened 12 years ago about how LeBron James fans in Cleveland were burning their jersey when LeBron left during the decision. I'm thinking to myself, why are you talking about that now 12 years later? Just stop with that. But Carmelo Anthony, it's something different. It's something different. Dwayne Wade never had that hatred. Carmelo Anthony never had that hatred. Carmelo Anthony was beloved in Denver. You want to know what made it happen in the end of all this right now? Was his attitude. His attitude cost him everything. It caused George Karl to get rid of him. It caused George Karl right now to make irrational decisions and a lot of question marks after Carmelo had left. And they had a chance, Carmelo, with Allen Iverson, who was at the Realm. I believe Allen Iverson was there at the time when Carmelo was there, because Carmelo was still there. And you had Chauncey Billups there, and you had Iverson there. They had a chance that year to really make a run for it. And it just never came to fruition, unfortunately. Never did. But yeah, if I'm you, Carmelo, I just would call it quits. I don't know if I talked about this or not, but Roy McIlroy did win the FedEx Cup winner. He was down 6 strokes in the series. He had a long way to go. Won $18 million in the whole thing right now, but he was a FedEx Cup winner over this weekend. So congrats to Roy McIlroy. Well deserved. And that's really about it. I will be, like I said before, giving you – well, actually, before I go, I might as well get the news on this one right now. This is more NFL news. Dolphins released running back today, Sony Michel, as they cut the former Patriot running back and Ram running back after signing him. By the way, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Sony Michel, by the way. There's another factor for you right now that people may have forgotten. Dameon Pierce right now will not get the starting job. This is according to Peter King right now. I guess he interviewed Lovie Smith right now, and Lovie Smith said he will get a chance to be at the top right back heavy for the Texans, but it will not be the number one starter. I guess according to Lovie Smith, but Peter King had a take today saying he'll get a chance to be the top running back. I think right now at this point, I think this is kind of dumb. I think Dameon Pierce at this point is the next LaDainian Tomlinson. I just think when I see his face and I think of his mannerism, it all screams out LT. And I have not felt that way about a running back since Adrian Peterson back in 2007. And LT was still in his prime in 2007. Think about that for a minute. But yeah, according to Peter King right now, he is will get a chance to be a top running back for run-heavy Texans. And they will be run-heavy. I don't know how. I mean, they'll probably run the ball more than the Patriots will. At this point, if I'm Mac Jones, I would run the ball a lot. I would not throw the ball to this team. Maybe Mac Jones wants to go to the Houston Texans, maybe. Who knows? Maybe you should. Try your talents out with Lovie Smith out there. Maybe Lovie Smith will give you a really good shot right now to go with a real legit offense. Not to insult the Patriots at this point. I am a diehard Patriots fan, but I'm having a lot of second thoughts about this team. I really am. I thought this team was going to be a 10-17. When I thought about it today, I'm like, probably not. Probably not. Way bit of an overreaction out there. I wonder what preseason game with my cousin. So that's what I get. That's what I get when I overreact. When I overreact like that, I tend to be wrong. I will admit that. So that's that. And now we're officially out of time. So the show will be on Saturday. Mike will be here Saturday for sure. This is gonna be one of those things now. It'll be let me interrupt you, and then when Mike is here, it'll be let us interrupt you. And I just dropped my phone again on the floor. If you're hearing that loud boom, if it gets through the session of the mic here, then that's me dropping my phone. The webcam, I apologize. I am doing this from a webcam on my laptop right now. I will get a better camera soon. But yeah, I did it today from my living room tonight. So that's that. Give the show a thumbs up. If you hit the like button, I would much appreciate that. It would support the podcast through YouTube at this point. I'm going to keep trying here with the show, guys. Believe me, it will get better over time. Anyway, subscribe, like. You can follow me on my social media. We've put the thing out so many times on this thing. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter for Mike. I don't really have a Twitter. I will get one soon, though. I almost did get one, but I thought I went against it. But I might go back to getting a Twitter. So maybe you'll see me tweeting soon on Twitter. You can follow me on Bleacher Report. You can follow me on TikTok. I know I have not posted anything on TikTok, but I will try soon. But yeah, have a good night, guys. I am out of here. I will see you all on Saturday. Oh, and if I may be on the Sports Flash, I will let you all know via Facebook. This is where I basically post a news feed. Have a good night, guys. I am out. Peace.